Welcome, everybody. We're so glad to have you here. I'm Thomas Dodds. Welcome to Artificial Intelligence in AE, how to get started and deliver value. I am joined today by our co-host, Samaneh Zolfagarian. Sam's got a killer bio, and I'll get to that in just a moment. But before we dive in, I want to encourage you to jot down any insights you have. And trust me, you're going to get some game-changing ideas and tips on how to supercharge your AI journey today. Plus, I'll be putting together an ebook based on this discussion and sending it out to all attendees. A bit about me. I'm president of slashBlue, where we help firms boost their revenue, enhance their output, and safeguard their reputation through C-level and other advisory and technology services. Now, it's my privilege to introduce Samaneh Zolfagharian, president and co-founder at Yegatech. She's got deep expertise in AE, having managed Autodesk partnerships with 2 startups and company leaders and industry leaders. She's also led cross-functional agile teams and spearheaded research in construction technologies, including using data analytics to save $15 billion in data interoperability for the construction industries. Welcome, Sam.
Thank you, Thomas, for having me here. And hi, everybody. Hope you're enjoying your day so far. And I'm excited to deep dive into how AI can help the AE firm.
We'd love to know, first of all, where all of you are at in your journey, and we'll address this in the Q&A section at the end. So I'm going to get started with a few questions for Sam about how to talk about people and organizations and how to get started. So if you would, take a look at this poll. Where are you in your AI journey? Haven't started yet? Are your objectives identified and a team in place? Have you been able to increase time on strategic, and are you transforming your value proposition? Those are kind of the stages I see people go through. So scan the QR code here or go to slido.com and enter in the code 1762142 to participate in the poll. To that later. If you're having any trouble, drop it in the comments. We'll help you out to get started on that. Sam, I want to start with just understanding, what have you done lately and what work have you done with AE leaders with artificial intelligence?
Yeah, so far at Yegatech, we started this company like 3 years ago before GBT was a big deal for not just AEC industry, but for the rest of industries as well. And we started Yegatech with this goal, like how we can augment and enable AEC workforce with their day-to-day job. And our goal right now at Yegatech is helping the industry understand what AI is, the fundamental of AI, and also how it can help them. So when we don't understand something, we have fear. So there are people out there that they're wondering if AI is going to take over their jobs, if they're going to be replaced. And there are many noises out there, especially in media, and it confuses people. So rather than just thinking about what if this worst situation happened to me, what if I can take the lead in the recent wave of innovation? What if I can find out how I can upskill and reskill myself? And that's where we're trying to help the AEC business leaders to figure out how they can educate, train their employees, and let them understand that AI is more than ChatGPT or any other GPTs that is out there, and how it can enable them in their design work, in their engineering work, and also the construction management. So our goal is really train them and let them understand it before jumping and setting a strategy for their companies.
That's fantastic. I remember when the cloud first came about and everybody's cloud this, cloud that, and there's so much hype and so much noise about it. It's really great to have a guide like you to help cut through that noise and understand with awareness how it can affect an industry, how it can affect the business model that AE leaders are looking at. So how do AE firms get started in this journey and looking at artificial intelligence rightly so that they can manage their people, train their people, and lead this effort well?
So far at Yegatech, we educated and trained more than 7,500 AEC
Wow.
professionals to just understand AI in different companies that we've been working with. And it's going to be more than that, because now industries are seeing, oh, others are doing something with AI and they want to see how it can enable their companies. But the main question that everyone asks is how I should start. Like, what should I do? Is it a hype? Shall I invest on it? What would be the ROI? And when it comes to a disruptive technology like AI, and you mentioned cloud kind of was a disruptive technology as well. AI is in different level, but if we just think and limit ourselves to what ROI is, then we are paralyzing ourselves. So less is important to understand the ROI, but AI is not going to have like if you consider it in short-term ROI, then you won't move on. So let's consider AI ROI is important, but you don't want to be paralyzed by just limiting yourself about ROI. So
That's
our
great
goal
advice.
is like if you want to start your journey, think about how AI can enable your people, augment your people, your process, and also your business.
What's the framework you're following to do that?
We are helping them to create a task force. After we educate everyone, we find those talents who are like can help drive the company forward. And our goal is like, don't just look for tools out there. So there are companies that they say we have a strategy, we are trying to bring AI to our companies, but they're just looking for tools. And looking for tools is not the right way. It's good, it helps you in a short term, but if you want to get the most out of this disruption, you should think long term. And for doing that further, it goes beyond just looking for a tool. And for doing that, you need to find those opportunities that could be enabled for your business. There are some tasks, we call it incremental innovation. There are some tasks that is repetitive, if duplicated, your employees have to do it every day. They don't want to do it. They want to like focus on something else that is more interesting or more helpful. It's good to automate those processes with the power of AI. We call it incremental innovation, but there are other sides that you can lead the industry, and it's called radical innovation. And that's where we help companies to find that those radical innovation that is going to have a long-term impact for their companies. And it would be in terms of their people, in terms of their process, and even the services that they can offer to their clients, something that weren't possible before.
That's really powerful. And it's almost like you can be afraid of something and get paralyzed, and then you don't get started on it. But you have to get started in different ways if you're doing incremental innovation versus radical innovation, as you've called it. And we've got something similar in terms of how we approach that. And so how do you overcome resistance to change and getting started, get the organization ready to do both of those, incremental and radical innovation?
I'm sure everyone that is listening to this podcast knows Simon Sinek. If you don't know, I recommend go and watch his video
Start with
on
why.
YouTube.
Great video. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So your employees won't buy what is like if you tell them let's do this, let's do that. They're busy with their day-to-day job. And most of business in AEC are like hourly paid. And they want to make sure that they put more hours in a project because then they earn more money, right? So if we just tell them, hey, go with AI thing, they're busy and they won't buy it. But if we elaborate on why and we let them understand why it's important, why we should do it now, why we should act now, that helps them understand it. So you educate them in terms of what AI is, but you also need to educate them why we need to act. There are companies who are reactive, and those are who are looking for tools. But those companies who are proactive, they explain the why they should act, and they enable the employees to bring new ideas forward. So there are some aspects that your employees are in with, they understand how everything works, and they talk to clients, they can bring some values forward and help you with those radical innovations.
That's great. Do you have an example of some clients maybe you've worked with, or how do they pull their why and connect it, their mission, vision to what they're doing with AI?
The example that I really like when I was looking at the story is John Deere. John Deere, they started from just a tool for, they call it a pull stove, something like this. But it was just a simple tool that we're using for construction or farming. And by the time in each wave of innovation, let's say wave of internet, they switch online with the wave of like now AI, they're trying to see how industrial revolution helped them to get into machineries. But now with AI, they want to see how they can benefit from the data that they captured through their machineries on construction side, like farms, and deliver new services to their clients. So when it comes to why, explaining why to your employees, they need to understand like you shouldn't just look at like your other companies, your competitors, what they do, because it's like an outside in a strategy. You want to have like inside out strategy. And for inside out, it means you're looking at your process, you're looking at the skills that you have, you're looking at the business that you're running. And then you see what's out there that can help you to make it better. So the question that you should ask yourself and let your employees think that way is like how we can make our services, the process of delivering our services to our clients better, how we can have a better business models in delivering value to our clients or even to our employees, how as an employer I can make your job, employees job, easier, how I can help you to not be overburdened, to like have time to take care of yourself. There are companies that are thinking about 4 days, like how I can just have 4 days of work for my employees. So if you want to do that, if you want to get there, how you can make it happen without missing your revenue. And if you can justify these reasons, what you're trying to achieve and the value that your employees will get, your client will get, and how it will give you the market differentiator within the industry, that's something that can help your employees to digest what's happening and why you're doing it.
That's really critical because then it just gives people a tangible taste, whether they're in the top of the company or whether they're front line. It has to ultimately connect to how they do their work and using a tool like AI. That's really great. I want to pause right now. I want to come back to that point. Just let everyone know that if you've got a question, put it in the comments and we'll get to that during the Q&A. And also don't forget to fill out the Slido poll as well as we go. So I want to follow up and just maybe connect that with an example that I've come across just recently in the last couple of weeks. So I've been working with AE firms for 20 years, and the firms that we work with have an average of 21% growth over the last 10 years annually and get more from their God-given talents every day. So we do this day in, day out. I was talking with a civil engineering firm, and I'm going to use that just to show you kind of a framework of how you can get the most out of AI and the return while you guard the fences. Talk about cybersecurity, HR policy, avoid productivity black holes and people running off, spending all kinds of time on this where they don't get results, and avoiding other pitfalls as well. So I want to give you a 4-part framework just to think about that. How do you accelerate your objectives, your current objectives, recover time, innovate value, and avoid pitfalls? So this connects a lot to the framework you just laid out, Sam. So understanding the current value proposition to accelerate your objectives, figure out where you're tracking your activities and your results, what technology systems are you using, and are you getting the results for each function of your business? And take a look at that. And so we started by analyzing a situation with the civil engineers. They handle fixed fee and hourly projects. And what you're doing with AI makes a difference in how your employees connect that. And so this firm does business with local and state governments. And so we examined their function and asked what the constraint is, where they're delivering value, and where they need it. And they focused in on marketing. So we identified an objective that they had. They needed to fill revenue from new clients, fill the top of funnel. So you can ask yourself, what objective is going to have the most impact for you as a leadership team to get started with it? And then third, they examined the systems. So they scrutinized their marketing systems and CRM. So they wanted to get more prospective clients in, connect with them faster. They wanted to speed up proposal creation. And so we're asking the question, which technology is going to provide us the best result fastest, and how can we do that? So we set out a plan with them to identify the AI tools that could help them in these objectives and integrate seamlessly. They were happy with their existing CRM in terms of increasing top of funnel, accelerating research and connecting with prospects, and then creating proposals so that the engineering team is not burdened by proposal creation. This is a real tangible way. So this was number one. Accelerate your current objectives, and then I give you 4 steps for that. And I'll have those in the ebook later as well. Second, where can you recover time? This is both strategic time and billable time. And it's by taking stuff that's tactical that AI can help you with and do faster. Like, where do you need help day to day? It can be something as simple as Grammarly or an editing tool that just helps you fix your writing if you're not a great writer, or even a meeting note taker, provided it has SOC 2 compliance and meets your cyber requirements. More on that later. Could be something simple like that, but ask yourself, where do you spend time on repetitive tasks each day? Then it can be automated or put into a tool like an AI. So if you're a marketer, you can write emails, you can generate emails, you can do research on clients. If you're in the build environment and you're creating things, you can use AI tools. I'll have more later on some recommended tools to even generate designs and design ideas, or even do quality checks there. So recover time secondly. And this gets down to the day-to-day as well, in the front line. And then number three, something that Sam talked about. So we've been talking about incremental value. This is value transformation. Where do you change the way that you do business? How do you deliver value? Can you take your fixed fee projects and deliver them faster, better quality? What are the opportunities you have to do that? Or the hourly projects, can you make employees, help them get a better output every hour with it? So we've got an AI readiness checklist that I'll send along after this to all attendees as well to help you set up for the future. But you want to get your environment ready. Sam already alluded to data, how important that is. Having the discipline with your data in where that innovation is going to occur, you need to have your data house in order. Getting rid of old data that's irrelevant, getting rid of inaccurate data. Maybe somebody created a draft and it's full of inaccurate information. You've got to get that out of the environment and know where your data is going to be so that AI can work on it. And deal with unclassified data, protected regulatory data, anything that's covered by an NDA, confidential data is in the right spot. And then, of course, by function, sales and marketing as well. So get your data discipline in-house before you take on the innovation that's here. So I'll give you a couple ideas of where you can innovate. So the incremental is the low-hanging fruit, and certainly you just got to dive in, I think. But the AI tools that you dive into that are emerging in here, some of them value and others are really cutting edge. And so the certainty with which you can adopt something like this might be low, but I got a great list from AE Plus Tech, another great resource from Iknaz. She's got a list that she sent me of the top AI tools that are being searched for on her site. So this isn't an indicator necessarily of value, nor of how well it's actually going to work for you, but this is an indicator of interest from the AEC community. So number one is Test Fit to help with real-time designs and insights into design and constructability so you can save time. Number two was Delve, a generative design product that identifies the best neighborhood design for a project based on the team's outcomes in the neighborhood. Cubic, it helps you create customized layout alternatives and 3D virtual tours. Schema does highly detailed and fully integrated BIM models. Conceptual design, it generates those for you. Swap, that generates code-compliant construction documents. And Oravis AI, which understands laser scans and takes these 3D scans, makes precise analyses and automates quantity surveys from them. So those are just a few of the tools on there. I'd love to hear, Sam, if you've got any experience with any of those or any questions or comments on anything I said, then I can get into avoiding some pitfalls. So I guess number one is accelerate your objectives. Number two is recover strategic and billable time with some of these tools. And then third, innovate value to transform. Do you have experience with any of those tools that I listed, or is there some tools you see that are really delivering great value for people right now?
I've been in touch with Niknaz for a while, and we are like collaborating on some projects together. She's doing a great job in terms of getting those tools listed on her platform. So it makes it easy for people to find out what's out there and what those tools are doing. When it comes to tools, the question is like, as you mentioned, like which problems we are trying to solve. So one thing that might be my favorite may not work for someone else. So it really depends on like what people are trying to do. And you already mentioned that earlier before listing the tool. So if there's something out there that can help you to get rid of some of repetitive tasks or can help you to make your employees' job easier, your clients' experience better, then yeah, why not go and try them out?
Yeah, that's great. There's so many tools out there as well. And there's some baseline things like meeting note takers, editing, doing research, collecting research using something like a Microsoft Copilot. How do you avoid some pitfalls? Here's some pitfalls I see. I'd love to hear what you see, Sam. One is, of course, the cybersecurity and how you address that. So you want to address your industry specific regulations. So for civil engineering, a lot of times you're having to be CMMC 2.0 compliant, doing business with the government. You want to make sure your AI is really set up in a way that complies with that, or PHI or PII. You've got to make sure that it's set up, and you're protecting sensitive and proprietary data as well that your customers wouldn't want in there, and you've got to exclude those. And you've got to make sure that if you're just grabbing an AI tool, that you don't have any access to that information. And so that data segmentation is really important for your IT to do. The knowledge, the business knowledge of what data is relevant is really important as well. So cybersecurity, make sure you've got a good cyber information security officer that isn't reporting to your IT, it's reporting to the C-level. Number two, just HR, appropriate use of that. Make sure you've got a policy in your handbook so that people know what they can do and can't do with artificial intelligence. How they use your time. Do they have discretion to use AI? To what level? I know a lot of technical people that are really good engineers, and they love to just tinker with things, which is great. And that's exactly how you learn how to do this. But you can't tinker all day. You got to get your work done as well. So understanding how to balance that with doing the work is really important. Can you use it for sensitive client work? Are your clients okay with you using some of these tools? So there's ethical questions, there's comfort level from your clients as well. So number two is HR. And number three is really just how do you guide people's time in this? You've got to carve out innovation time, playing around time, part of the growth plans for your employees, their development objectives for every employee, even bringing in some training. And Sam can talk about that, how they do that as well. But those are three pitfalls I see. What would you add on to that, Sam?
The privacy and security that you highlighted are like primary concerns of many, not only AEC firms, but also like outside of the industry. Everyone is worried, like what happened to my data, confidential data, sensitive data. And it's good to have companies like slashBlue that is helping them to mitigate the risk of AI and exposing the confidential or sensitive information externally. And one thing that I would add to the list that you created is in terms of over-reliance. When we talk about AE firms, especially engineering, the work that they do is really sensitive. Like we design and analyze buildings, infrastructure that people, the society is using. And the way that our brain works, we are usually not engineer's brain, by the way, like a human brain, is we're looking for a shortcut. So if there is a tool out there that can help me with doing analysis, designing a structure or like a bridge, and then by the time I get used to that tool, and maybe I'm in rush, or maybe my brain is just want to get to the result faster, and I'm over relying on the output that I'm getting from that AI system without any verification and validation, that could be risky. So I am encouraging companies to always consider any output of AI systems should be validated and verified, and not just sending over to clients, because eventually it's you that you're stamping the drawing. It's not AI. And if a building collapses, the engineering firm is in charge, is responsible, and not the AI system that they use. So through that training, education, you need to inform your employees that it's really important to verify and validate the outputs that they get. And the other thing that some people are worried is in terms of bias. Bias when it comes to society, it gets into like races, gender. They could be applicable to our industry, of course, but I want to talk about in terms of design side. So when we use an AI system that is just trained based on the design, let's say in California, which is earthquake is the primary thing is driving everything. Then if we want to use that AI system in the other state, that like Florida, that they're dealing with tornado and other natural disasters, that may not work out. So my point here is like bias could be in terms of the context, the data that you use to train an AI system. So it's really important to make sure that the AI system you bring to your company, it align with the data, the context that the use cases that you're going to apply.
That's great. So, boy, really good guidance there. It's like a lot of technologies, but technology is just a leverage. It's a tool. You can use it for good or evil. The same hammer that's going to pound in a nail can be used to assault somebody. So
Yeah.
you got to be real careful with it. Very powerful tool, can go off the rails as well pretty quickly. So, how about training AIs, or do you see people doing that in terms of value proposition? Do you see people doing training their own AIs internally? How do you see people doing that when they innovate their value proposition?
Training in terms of training the employees or training AI system for like
Yeah.
fine tuning?
When you look at people who are innovating, are they bringing in a AI to their environment, training the AI with their own data? Are you seeing people do that now, or are they just getting started on that, or do you know of anyone that's done it successfully?
There are companies that actually they started their journey like more than 2 years ago. Like when I was talking to Tim O'Rourke and Andy McKeown from Waitree and Rob Sinclair, they started their AI journey like 5-6 years ago, and recently they expedited it. And what they do actually, they're bringing those AI module systems that are out there and they're training them based on their internal data. They hire AI staff, they have interns, they have employees that are basically for AI. And those employees that they just hired, they have background both like AEC and also AI itself. And that helped them do faster process because those people understand both domains. So there are companies that are doing it. SSOE is another example of an AE firm that they're doing the training in-house as well. We help them with setting the AI strategy, and now they're for those use cases that are, some of them are incremental, some of them are radical. They're training their own AI system internally as well.
Where do you see the biggest challenges in getting employees trained to do this, and how do companies go about that? If they want to get started, how do they get training resources? Do you go out and just like, there's training resources on Microsoft Copilot, but that's a pretty low
Yeah.
level. But how do you
Yeah.
get the right training for your team on how to look at AI, how to gain the skills? How do you go about that?
I'm seeing a few trends right now. So one is looking out there, like they're in touch with universities. Like last week, Team Org from Witrim and we had a presentation session with Carnegie Mellon University students. And over there, we let them know like what's happening around AI in the industry. And that opens an opportunity for companies like Witrim to access talented students that are out there and can help them with their journey. So my point here is like you can get connected to universities, find those talents that are out there, and their mind is fresh, like they're ready, they know they can help you to get your journey started, like bring your AI strategy to real life. And the other approach, the other trend that I'm seeing is companies investing in their employees upskilling. And some employees are going back to school while they're doing their job. They're taking like courses or even online training that is out there, like accessing information. Oh my gosh, it's so much easy these days. Like you just can go to many platforms and take AI courses and learn and bring it back to your team, to your company. It could be challenging in terms of the salary that we pay to AI talents, like in Silicon Valley is like 500K per year. So it's expensive, but there are some small steps that we can take, like building relationship with universities, finding those talents, or even invest in our current employees who are interested, let them take courses, go and be educated, learn AI and bring it back to the company.
That's great. Yep. There is so much out there. It's hard to wade through it. It probably goes back to your other point where you have to connect it with your mission, your values, your vision of your company and the business that you're in. And it's very, very specific there. Do you have any examples of firms you've worked with? It looks like the poll responses, I'm going to go back to that right now. Looks like most people either haven't started or have their objectives identified. They have a governance established and a team formed. So that's where most people attending here are today. What examples do you have of companies that have maybe gone through that, and what advice do you have for people to get started?
We have some use cases listed on our website. If you go to yegatech.com/free resources, you can see the use case as SSOE, the company that built the culture of innovation, and now they're running their AI strategy, bring it to life. There is a company called Witrim, is an engineering firm, and what they did, they set the strategy business for their companies. They find those radical innovation for their companies, and that's why they're hiring graduate students or like they're upskilling their existing employees. And there's a company, they're mainly architecture, partially engineering, McKinsey. They're based in Portland, and McKinsey is focusing on data. Thomas, you earlier mentioned about the data value and like how they can organize, set the process for capturing data that can help them with their AI journey. That's where the McKinsey architecture, they're doing a great job in terms of standardizing their processes, helping their employees to understand that data is an asset and not just something that we store it somewhere and maybe we look back to it later. And they want to make sure that they get value out of that data that they're capturing throughout the project from the starting point to the closeout.
That's great. That's really, really
Yeah.
helpful. We've looked at it as well. Just getting started can be a mess. And it's easy just to kind of throw it at IT and say, get us some AI, but it really has to start with the business conversation and the risk and how you do business and how it integrates with your business model. And those case studies are really fantastic. And so getting started at the leadership team. So what would you advise people for you if they need more help? When would someone reach out to you? What would they reach out to you for? And how would you help them?
The advice that I have is stop. There are companies that they're waiting to see what happened. Earlier, you mentioned, Thomas, that is people are seeing it as a hype. So they're happy with their status quo and they're not taking any action because they want to see what happens to others. There are companies looking for a tool and we consider them as reactive because there could be more opportunities that they're missing, like the radical innovation that you mentioned earlier. And there are companies that are proactive, and these companies, they train their employees, they build a culture of innovation, and now they have an AI strategy, and based on that AI strategy that they have, they're figuring out how it may impact their people, how it may impact their business and processes, and even the data that they need, what they need to capture, or even the data that they've captured so far is going to be helpful for enabling that AI strategy that they set up. So my advice is like considering from that training point and get to see like how it impacts your employees' business processes as well. And there are some concerns when we talk to companies in terms of governance, privacy, and security, which I think slashBlue can help them with that. And I know you have a lot to talk about this when it comes to security and governance and making sure that they're not exposing their confidential data publicly.
Very, very important. Yep, very important. It's something that's easy. A lot of the engineering and architecture firms I talk to, they want to wait for someone else to make the move first. They don't want to be the first one. I applaud that from a risk standpoint. Getting started is really important to be able to equip your employees with the skills they need to tinker with some of the tools. Is something as simple as get Microsoft Copilot for everybody if you're in a Microsoft stack, for example, or another tool, and make sure it's vetted by your cybersecurity CISO and get it in place for people and allow them space to innovate and start to play with it. Like we've seen people really accelerate on the marketing side, the research they can do, collecting research on prospective clients and writing emails, sequence of emails, cleaning up writing. It just accelerates productivity 10% to 40% just on an individual level in certain tasks. Getting meeting notes in place, note takers, and even starting to explore those built environment kind of tools. So there's 4 areas I see that can help with someone's really good talent. Everyone has talent. You want to apply technology to it, and you can amplify your own intelligence by gathering things from AI. You can help do a search for ideas, even like something like key lime pie. How can I find the best recipes? But you can do that in the business. Like, give me the alternatives. Compare the iPhone 16 Pro to what I've got now, and gather everything on there. And it just saved me so much time versus a simple Google search. You can curate knowledge with it as well and supplement your knowledge and integrate it in if you know the heuristic that the AI is using on your data. So even in scorecard systems, if you have good data and you're wanting to project or trends with the data you have, you can apply the AI to that and create scenarios that before it would have been taken so much time, or everybody's got a huge complicated spreadsheet in budget planning, scenario planning. And then you can extend your craftsmanship as well, just to automate things that are reliable, even quality checking. That's a great area when you can do all these trust flows make sense. Do they pan out? There's some great tools already available to do that kind of thing. So just even getting started and letting people kind of play around in an innovation space that's their time's carved out. They've even got, maybe they have an environment that's carved out as well, but just getting started is really helpful for people as well. So I want to encourage the engineers who want to sit back and wait. Don't make big changes, but start to equip your people to do it as well. See that coming quite a bit. And there are all these concerns out there about accuracy and everything else. And if you bet your business on it at this point, that's pretty risky. But if you start taking small moves, that can be really helpful. So we can help people identify the business objectives and help make sure that the technology is going to match. Everybody uses technology, and you think that you're going to do your business in a certain way, and then you apply technology to it. The technology can take it and either put it in the wrong direction or a good direction that supports your values, your principles, your mission, and your vision. We help eliminate a lot of technology that is not giving the value and replace it with technology that provides more value in line with your company's principles as well, while avoiding cybersecurity pitfalls and getting the environment set up and supporting your IT people in doing that. So you can reach out to either of us on that. Any last points you wanted to make, Sam?
For those of you who might be interested, there's a question that everyone asks, like, what's going to happen to my business? Is it the race to bottom, or am I going to have my job or not? We have a guideline in terms of 5 steps to prepare your business for the future of work. In an AI-driven economy, you can go to our website, download it, or I can put it in chat on LinkedIn Live. And you feel free to go download it. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me and Thomas.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I think you got a lot of free resources. We'll put those down in the comments of the LinkedIn Live afterwards here. I'll make sure that those are in the ebook as well. And so contact Sam if you need some more help in getting your AI strategy together, and contact slashBlue to help get the most value out of your technology as you apply it and avoid cybersecurity pitfalls as well. So we'll send follow-ups to all the attendees today as a bonus to help you get started. We really want to see everybody succeed and get more value out of AI to start with, and not be afraid of it. The good AI as a tool, and you want to avoid the bad AI as well, because there is some of that out there too. So thanks for the privilege today. And just as a reminder, go to the links below, letstalk.yegatech.com to schedule an appointment with Sam. And you can go to slashblue.com/letstalk and grab a time with me and be happy to help you on your journey as well. So thanks so much for the privilege, Sam, talking with you today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for joining us, and we'll see you on the other side of this. Have a great day.
Thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Take care.